What's up, everybody? It's the Digital World Podcast, and stay tuned because this one's gonna be a very, very good episode. And it's not my words that I'm saying here. That's what I want you to understand. I'm gonna show you words from people who are, work directly with Ripple, are part of their councils, and so um, you're gonna enjoy this one. Here is Stuart Alderati, and a shout out to the Digital Asset Investor for posting this, and to Darren Moore for putting this on his channel. But listen to what he has to say. I mean, amazing words. Take a listen.
XRP is specifically designed for speed to execute cross-border transactions. If you wanted to do what has been I've described, and what you've heard Chris describe with Bitcoin, you're going to have to wait for some miner to solve a mathematical riddle, which is using an awful lot of energy. All of the energy of Ireland, is devoted every year to solve these mathematical riddles. And you can't do that in 3 to 5 seconds. It'll take about an hour to solve that mathematical riddle to make that transaction work. The reason you won't want to use dollars is because what Ripple is solving for is cross-border payments, where a dollar is converted into a peso, and that's done in 3 to 5 seconds. And then I can decide as a treasurer of a bank when I want to execute that trade. In other words, I can keep pinging the system, messaging the system, until I get the quote that I like, and I say, that's the quote I want. That's the quote I like. If I send $1 out into the system and it hops between a number, probably at least 2 correspondent banks, and I'm beholden to a bunch of FX traders to make the trade, I don't know. I know ultimately that dollar will be converted to a peso at the end of the transaction, but I cannot tell you when that transaction will complete. I don't know if it'll happen in 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, or 5 days, and I won't know the cost of that transaction until the transaction is completed. With this solution, you know exactly what it's going to cost before you hit the OK button, and you know exactly how long it's going to take, which is going to be counted in a matter of seconds, not days.
And Stuart Alderati just laid down the use case that XRP provides for cross-border payments. Now, can you imagine? That's the world we live in. You know the transaction from the dollar to a peso is going to happen, but you don't know when, and you don't know the fees. But with this technology, with what XRP provides, you know it's going to be there in a matter of seconds. You know exactly how much you're paying for it, and it happens, and you know the transaction is going to be completed. And this all happens in a matter of seconds. So the technology is transformative. It's changing. It's life-changing for all these institutions. Jeannie posted this, and this is Brad Garlinghouse saying it straight to you. I mean, not my words. This is straight from the horse's mouth, like he said.
XRP is part of the heartbeat of Ripple. It is the foundation of how we think about liquidity management, and a core problem that how the financial infrastructure works is around how liquidity is managed. Today, financial institutions are wired with pools of capital. They're called Nostro and Vostro accounts. And these are accounts that are pre-funded between financial institutions. And that's capital sitting dormant and not being used for either working capital or lending or what have you. By using a digital asset, you can enable liquidity in real time. This is transformational to how global financial infrastructure is wired. Every marathon starts with a single step.
Okay, and
XRP...
he told you. I mean, XRP is the heartbeat of Ripple. And he says that this technology is going to change the infrastructure. It's going to change how financial institutions do business. And literally what I've been saying, and Nostro Vostro accounts, this is something I've been talking about heavily on this channel. If it replaces, if XRP replaces those Nostro Vostro accounts, we're looking at a floor price minimum of $100 to $270. And he just mentioned Nostro Vostro accounts. It's a very big deal. That's why I keep bringing it up. here we have Ashish Burla talking about a tokenized future. Now, it details how RippleNet is evolving from cross-border payments to become the bridge between traditional enterprises and a crypto-enabled world. Now, also, we've been talking about it being used as a world reserve currency. I mean, Brad Garlinghouse himself stated that that's what the ultimate goal was, and so we got to pay attention to what they're talking about. And so yeah, I think that's very important. Now here we go to crypto fusion. Now he's talking about the charts for the US dollar, the Dixie. And so we see here that based on the chart, he says it's about to get wrecked as it ping pongs in the bearish symmetrical triangle of death. And he says, this is super bullish for crypto. Never in crypto have we seen a dollar bear super cycle. This will be the first time in history. Now he's showing here the channel, and it's getting smaller and tighter, and it looks like it's a descending channel. I believe I'm not a TA analyst, but based on what it shows here, that has room for the downside, and that's very interesting. So keep your eyes open for this possible scenario, and we know that there's another push on the upside for the crypto markets, as that's my personal opinion, not financial advice, but looks like that's the case. Here, Jamil Case posted a video of Mark Carney. Listen to what he has to say.
Working with DL technology, distributed ledger technology, for about 5 years. We are creating a system, the core of the system, in a way that private innovation can plug into the system more readily to provide these types of services that crypto assets are trying to do. And I think, as I said in the speech, one of the very positive things about this flurry of activity in crypto assets is they really are throwing down the gauntlet of where the system needs to go, what it needs to provide, and working with.
So having private institutions get plugged in is very important, and so this is where it's all headed. This is where it's all headed. We're moving to a more digital world. Mac XRP posted this: before you finish this exciting book, life will be a lot more pleasant and simpler. He's talking about here a quote by Brad Garlinghouse: we're going to drive a massive demand for XRP because we're solving a multi-trillion-dollar problem. You better believe it. When you talk about all the money, it's all the money. Okay? Now, here I want to end with this. If you don't believe that there's something coming, listen to what Warren Buffett's saying. And this is, Warren Buffett is very well renowned. He's a very educated investor and very wealthy investor for a long time now. Listen to what he's saying.
One thing that maybe surprised you most, something you learned the last year?
Well, I learned that people don't know as much as they think they know. But the biggest thing you learn is that the pandemic was bound to occur, and this isn't the worst one that's imaginable at all. Society has a terrible time preparing for things that are remote but are possible and will occur sooner or later. There'll be another pandemic. We know that. We know there's a nuclear, chemical, biological, and now cyber threat. And we know it has, each one of those has terrible possibilities, and we do some things about it, but it's just not something that society seems particularly capable and fully coming to grips with. The cyber threat, that we've just started, and look at the damage that's already been done. Charlie and I have been ungodly lucky in many ways, but the luckiest thing was actually being around at this time and place. And we also have these problems on how to 200 countries with over 7.5 billion people, and a lot of tensions between them and all sorts of things, and different systems of selected governments and all that. And how do we actually do this so that mankind 50 and 100 and 200 years from now should...
And there you have it. straight from his mouth. And so these are the kind of things we're dealing with, and he might know something we don't. And so it's just important to just listen and see what these wealthy people are saying. I hope this episode has brought you some value. Like and subscribe, comment below. What are your thoughts? As always, I like hearing from you. This is the Digital World Podcast, and I'll see you in the next episode.